Rated M for mature.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Playing Dead. I'm AJ Locascio, and on this episode, we'll be meeting two members of the development team, Dennis Lennart and Nick Herman. We'll be discussing details from episode 3, as well as answering your questions right here on Playing Dead. Guys, thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, tell us, what exactly did you guys do on the game?
I directed the episode. Basically oversaw everything from a lot of the writing to art, animation. The team makes the game. I just sit there and sleep.
You just take the responsibility, right? And Nick, so you...
I was the lead cinematic artist for episode 2, and basically it's just like working with Dennis and the cinematics team to...
So you also did, you're pulling double duty too, because you were Glenn, if I'm not mistaken.
In episode 1.
I'm revealing that.
Episode 1, yeah.
He sounds a lot like this, actually.
So this episode, episode 2, I just played it a couple days ago for the first time, and it was dark as hell. I was like, this is like the first episode. You're like, yeah, zombies. This is, like it's scary, but this one was just like I was terrified the entire time. I was like, this is messed up.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know how far we could take it. We always had this pie in the sky of, by the end of it, you're going to feel kind of depressed. But I think we ended up just nosediving off of that cliff.
Does it get worse? And you guys hit the pinnacle of human
it doesn't
horribleness.
Stop. It doesn't stop. It really doesn't.
I can't wait.
Episode 1 looks like Disneyland compared to the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Episode 2.
Episode 3 gets
it's
deep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well,
it's like the more time you spend with the characters, the more the relationships get crazy and all the conflict between everyone.
Well, and you get more attached to the characters too. I mean,
for sure, yeah.
Like you just the emotional connection there gets so strong that if anything happens to these people, you've been with them for months now. I mean, as these episodes roll out.
So here's something that bothers me. Mark, where the hell did he come from?
Didn't want to just say 3 months later, and it's the exact same people with the exact same relationships as 3 months ago, because then it just feels like nothing happened. So Mark was kind of like a cool little addition to say, hey, our characters have been living their lives since you've been gone, and there's this whole new guy there. So
psychology is clearly a humongous part of this whole game. That's a hard thing to do.
One of the great things, Telltale is just basically a gigantic room where everyone just shares ideas all day. And so, you're always trying to, one-up things that other people did. When you see something cool, you're like, oh, man, I want to make something cool, too. Okay, I'm going to go do that. And go back to your desk and think of some way to make your scene cool. And so, once it's working, when you go around and tell everyone, hey, here's this cool bit that happens in a upcoming episode. And people are like, really? That's the reaction you want. And then you're like, all right, that's working. Let's file that away and move on to something else.
Stats obviously are a big part of this, and you guys keep track of them quite religiously.
Yeah, we're tracking everything you do.
I have some of these stats here. 87% of people didn't shoot Jolene.
This is a character, you don't know at that point, is she going to become part of my team or what? And so you're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. And I think also at the same time, once she starts saying stuff that makes you know that she knows Danny somehow, you're kind of like, okay, I could just blow her away right now, but it's probably advantageous for me to actually sit and listen to what she has to say and see if I get any more information. So
68% of people didn't kill Larry, which is interesting.
Yeah, no,
he's been nothing but a pain in the butt the entire time.
Yeah, all we heard from players was, man, I can't wait to kill that guy. If I get a chance to kill that guy, I'm just gonna off him as soon as I can. And then we're like,
there you go. Yeah, it was. I did the same thing. I was like, I don't like Larry, but I was like, I don't. The situation was so grim, and she was, it was very difficult to just go. Yeah.
Well, and an added layer to that is if people in the room are going to be affected by this decision I make. So it's not just you and Larry in a room, and you're just, it's like I have to live with these people too.
Yeah.
So
Clementine.
The food aspect of the game is when you have to choose. There's 10 people, and you have 4 things of food, and you have to give it to someone. What we found out, or what the stats were, is that Clem came first, followed by Duck, then Mark, and then Larry, which is bizarre to me because, none of us really like Larry that much.
It seems like maybe people are just, they don't like him because he doesn't like them, so then they're like, well, maybe if I give him food.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he'll like me a little bit more, but...
That's why I wanted to resuscitate him. I was like, if I could bring him back to life, he'll like me more. But that's a weird thing to be like, to give him food.
Yeah.
St. John Brothers. We get the option to kill both of them, and apparently 83% of people didn't kill both, which to me is weird because I was like, these guys are dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Who did you guys kill?
Well, I mean, I think that way that works. It seems like everyone, they get out of the meat locker. They're like super stoked. They're like, we're gonna take this place back. Like, we're gonna get revenge. And you come across Danny and you get into that struggle and you get the chance to kill him, and everyone's like, hell yeah, like let's do it. And you do it, and then there's that immediate like that guilt and you look over and Clementine's watching, and then you realize, oh yeah, this isn't just a game about action. This is going to affect her now.
Right.
And I think by the time you get back outside with Lee, that's now you're thinking about that again. You're like, oh God, am I going to do this again? Like, is she going to see this twice in one night?
Watching his face get bruised slowly, and then it cuts to that wide shot, and you see everyone
staring at you,
looking at you, and it's like they're watching me be a murderer.
Did you keep going?
I kept going
all the way.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was like, well, if I don't do this guy's gonna come back. He's gonna murder us. Like now he has a reason for revenge because I just killed his mother and his brother.
Yeah. It's funny too. It's like we have stats on like how many people, did 1 punch, 2 punches, 3, and like whether it was left or right-handed, like all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, it's funny how like there's definitely a peak in the numbers. Yeah, where it's like, it's once you get that wide shot and you see the whole group kind of coming over and watching you, and then it goes back to like, oh, you can keep beating them up. And a lot of people are like, maybe not.
That was my instinct initially, was to go like, I should stop. And I was like, you know what? No, yeah, this guy's gonna come back and he's gonna kill us. So this really screwed me up, was the food. The food, when you find the car and you come upon it, apparently 56% of people chose to eat the food from the car. Take the food. And which is reasonable because you come, you show up and these people have clearly left the car on and they're, neglecting the supply they have. But I actually got into an argument with my girlfriend while I was, because she came into the room and she was watching and she was like, don't do it, don't take the food. And I was like, no, screw you. So I chose to take the food, and then like guilt set in. And I was like looking at the corner, making sure the save bar wasn't happening. I was like, and I reset the PlayStation.
Oh, wow. I mean, I think it's great that people had that moral dilemma and we're so evenly split. Like, I think that's when we feel like we did a good job.
Yeah. All right. It's the big question. Episode 3. What can you tell us? What hints can you drop?
Overall, I mean, the rest of the season, starting with episode 3, there's stuff that if we told you, you would probably cry or throw up or want to shoot yourself, which is good.
Wow. So instead I'll play the game and do that in the privacy of my own home. Good. All right.
The stuff you're doing with Kenny, did you side with him or not in the meat locker? Lily by the same sort of other side of the coin. You're definitely going to meet some new characters, including a young couple, Krista and Omid, which means that Lee will definitely have some trust issues to deal with, especially after what happened with the St. John's and the Bandits in episode 2.
People will die. I mean, this is Walking Dead. It's just part of how it is and what happens, and how responsible are you for their deaths too is another thing that we're gonna be seeing.
Great. All right. So my favorite part is Q&A, questions from fellow Telltalers.
Sure. Hey, questions.
All right. So Tyler J asks, is the game going to be available as a disc that he could buy in a store?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
well, I mean, once we finish the season, we will want to get it out to everyone who prefer to have it in one big, nice big box and everything they can play back to back.
Our friend Patrick asks, is there going to be any romance budding between Carly and Lee?
Well, I mean...
I think there's hints, and I think some people read into it more than others.
Yeah, she knows about Lee's past before the apocalypse, so I mean, there's a lot going there. They have a secret, and that brings people together sometimes.
Jackie asks if the zombie that bit Brenda St. John was Mark, and if so, how did he get back up the stairs?
It was Mark. Yeah. Very observant.
Basically, when they throw you in the meat locker, they have to take care of Mark because he's crawling around, so they bring him upstairs. And then at the time, he wasn't a zombie.
Evan asks, will the game be coming to the Android store?
Currently, there aren't any plans for Android support, but it's Telltale, so we always want to get all of our products as many places as we can. So I wouldn't rule it out for the future.
So Malachi wants to know what happens if you don't choose a piece of dialogue within the allotted time.
Well, I mean, it definitely depends on the situation. A lot of the times, silence is always an option in Walking Dead. So you can either choose that to be your choice, or you can let it time out and Lee will remain silent because you didn't say anything. That affects how people perceive what you are.
All right. Silence is consent.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for talking to us today.
Cool, no problem.
Indeed. Thanks for having us.
Before we close out this edition of Playing Dead, I just wanted to invite anyone that's going to PAX Prime to Playing Dead Live. That's right, I'll be your host for a live episode of Playing Dead with Gary Whitta, Sean Vanneman, and Jake Rodkin. So if you're going to PAX, be sure to join us to talk about The Walking Dead, and you may get your chance to get your hands on some unique swag.
Dad is slowly going to turn into just counseling sessions for you.
Yeah,
Just kinda
exactly.
More and more disheveled.
So I just played through episode 4.
Like an IV.
That's how this is going.